Hello and welcome to the Fall 2023 Socratica Symposium.
Okay, I hope this mic works, but my name is Hudza. I've been the one yelling at all of you guys today because we've not done an event this size before. And I'm joined with
Inaya.
And she's going to be joining me as my co-host to our biggest symposium yet. We've almost doubled the number of people, so we're kind of scared how this is going to turn out, but it seems like we're doing okay. So yeah, we're going to tell you more about how the symposium actually works. So Inaya.
So Symposium is our place to showcase the in-progress creations from our community of makers who gather every Sunday at our Socratica sessions. It's a celebration of those of us who dared to build.
Oh, cool. That's my turn.
Yeah.
So this is our fourth symposium, and it's actually the 1 year of symposium since we've been doing it, so I don't know, that's kind of cool. And yeah, honestly, we're kind of winging all of this. We don't know how this is going to turn out, but we're all working as hard as we can to make sure this is the best event for everyone. Before we start, we want to go over some housekeeping rules. So firstly, Inaya's going to tell us more about that.
Okay, garbage. If you see something on the ground, please clean it up. Like Hudza mentioned, we would love to do this again next year, but the only way that's going to work is if you guys cooperate with us 100%. So please throw everything in the right place. We have recycling as well.
In terms of food, please don't waste food. I know we're actually out of food. We didn't expect it to go that fast, but I hope you guys liked it. We put a lot of time.
Yeah.
We carefully calculated what everybody wanted. So the food is pretty good, I'll tell you that.
All right, and then in regards to the venue, if something says do not enter, this isn't hide and seek, please do not try and enter those spaces. Just look at our signs and obey those signs. There's also barricades around the space. There's other tents and other people working, so just be respectful all the time when you are in this space. We do recognize this is a much bigger crowd than we ever thought and dreamed was possible. So just be as respectful, and please, if you see a sign, listen to it.
Yeah, and the other thing is washrooms. There are washrooms all the way at the back there. I know a lot of people have been coming up to me and asking, where are the washrooms? They're all the way back there. So if you want to use it, you should probably use it during the intermission we'll have. But if you ever need to know where it is, it's back there.
And to do with photography, if you are here and you do not want to be on camera, please let one of us of the hosts know. But if you do really want to be on camera, also let one of us know. We can totally kickstart your influencer career. So yeah.
The last thing and most important thing are fights. If you want to have a brawl with someone you really don't like, don't do it at CG. We have a parking lot for that. Take it outside, please. I'm begging you.
We're not responsible for that.
We're not responsible. And but before we go any further, we want to do the land acknowledgement. So I want to invite Anthea onto stage to
read out the land acknowledgements.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. Hello. I'm Anthea. And so something that we want to do before the event starts is to acknowledge the land that this campus was built on. And so we're going to start off with the land acknowledgement. So the Waterloo, Kitchener, and Cambridge campuses of the University of Waterloo are situated on the Haldimand Tract land that was promised to the Haudenosaunee of the Six Nations of the Grand River, and are within the territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. So before we continue any further, something we do at every Socratica event is a host pledge. And so we're gonna call on another host to do that for us. So, do we have Pav? Where's Pav?
Pav,
are you here?
Is he actually not here?
Okay, Pav isn't here.
Where is he?
Okay, so we're gonna have another host volunteer. So if you want to put up your hand to say the host pledge, you can.
You have a script, don't worry.
come on, guys.
Okay. Give it up for Julia. Okay.
All right, so Julia can come over here. So how the host pledge works is these guys, Braden actually knows how to do it well. You want to explain actually?
Yeah, so the host pledge is basically something we're all going to do together. You're going to repeat after the things we're about to say, and that'll be things that you'll abide by for the duration of the event. All right. We're,
Okay, where are we?
okay, there.
What one last thing?
We actually don't have it on here.
Yeah, I'm like, that does not
There
look
we
like
go. Okay, you'll do the first one, and I'll do the next one.
Okay, cute. Okay.
You go.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I think we repeat after me. So everyone repeat after me. I, name insert, solemnly swear to adopt a host mindset for the duration of this event. Cool. If crowd is lame, tell them they can do better than that. Do you think they can do better than that?
Let's do it again. All right, let's do this. I. Insert name. Solemnly swear. To adopt a host mindset. For the duration of this event. I don't need to read that thing again because you guys did that well this time.
Much better. Okay, we'll go one sentence at a time since memory is a little short today. Next sentence. I will not be a menace.
I will not be a menace.
I'm looking at you. I will clean up my own garbage and the occasional additional cup.
I will clean up my own garbage and the occasional additional cup.
One more time.
I will clean up my own garbage and the occasional additional cup.
Nice. But most importantly, if I see someone standing alone in a corner, I will go be their friend.
But most importantly, if I see someone standing alone in a corner, I will go be their friend.
Now let's get started.
Wow, thank you to Julia and Braden for that incredible host pledge they did there. We totally did not choose them on purpose. Now we want to, I guess, like Socratic. You want to take that?
Yeah, guys, we are so well prepared. So Socratica started in classrooms with curious UW students that wanted to escape the mold that they previously were put in, which wasn't work or school. We've grown a lot, and we want to thank our sponsors who show up week by week, and yeah, that's what we're about to go do.
So our first sponsor, Velocity. A quick blurb on Velocity. Velocity accelerates entrepreneurs' growth from idea to early stage startup and beyond. These founders have access to unmatched resources, collaboration space, funding, and an expansive and experienced network made possible only by the University of Waterloo, Canada's top university for founders. In the 15 years since its inception as a University of Waterloo residence, more than 400 Velocity companies have netted more than $26 billion in enterprise value.
Yeah, but it's you. All right, next up, Contrary. So Contrary is a tech-focused venture capital firm that systematically identifies and invests in the world's most exceptional talent, aka the one here at Waterloo. Contrary also publishes Contrary Research, a private company equity research platform, and is home to Contrary NYC, which is in New York, big surprise. We also operate a venture partner program that is focused on identifying the best builders on university campuses across the country.
And if you want to learn more about Contrary, you can talk to Parth over here. He has a booth all the way at the back, but you can go talk to him if you want to learn more. Next up is the Conrad School. So the Conrad School is an immersive educational environment for entrepreneurs located within Canada's most innovative university, again, us, in a region ranked amongst the top startups ecosystems in the world. The Conrad School is the academic engine for entrepreneurship on campus, offering programs that are entrepreneurial by design.
Next up, Eigenspace. So Eigenspace is a venture studio, community, and fund all in one. Through investing in these founders and building their network, Eigenspace creates real opportunities for ideas to actually become startups. Its goal, to equip the Waterloo community with what it needs to innovate and grow.
And if you want to learn more about Eigenspace, you can talk to Jesse over there. He's sitting not on a seat, so wait, is that a seat? I can't even tell. But you can talk to Jesse over there to learn more about Eigenspace. And before that, I think we have a video as well on the next slide. Do we? Oh, yeah, here we go. This is our intro video. We should dim the lights if we can. Oh, actually, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, life got me walking this weird way at the moment. Not a care in the world, I just want to let it go. Be free This head that ain't found its home needs time to grow. I suppose I should know my place, but I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them. I'll always be one of them. Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm young, I'm dumb, I'm full of it. I'm young, I'm dumb, I'm full of it. I'm free, I'll run, I'm living it. I'm someone, son, no regret. Never gonna grow up, never gonna face it. I'm young, I'm dumb, I'm full of it. I'm free, I'll run, I'm living it. I'm someone, son, no regret. Never gonna grow up, I'm gonna make it.
So now let's get into the real reason why you guys are here and the real exciting stuff, the demos.
All right, so first up is Rajan and Ian building Portal. Get ready to see the visionary work of this duo. So Rajan, you can come in. Give it up for Rajan.
Big round of applause for Rajan and Ian.
Hey everyone, I'm Rajan, this is Ian, and over the past couple months, we've been trying to solve one fundamental problem. Let's get this, I guess we'll use our slides. How can we relive memories? Now, memories are inherently temporary, so how can we make this more permanent? So we first want to identify what makes something a memory. So we define that as 4 key things: the people we meet, the conversations we have, the places you go, and the ideas that you develop. And so in doing so, we decided to build something called Portal. Portal is a wearable AI that allows you to relive what you see, what you hear, and what you experience in the most immersive way possible.
Now, it all starts with you, the user. Portal just sits there on your head, recording your everyday interactions, what you see, and what you hear. After that, all of that's tossed into the cloud, and then we process it, looking for the people you met, the objects you encountered with, and the different conversations that you had.
And on your end, all you have to do is ask a simple question. For example, when did I talk to Ian about laptop stickers? So this will be broken down into when did I talk? This is a conversation is looking for. Ian, this is the person we're looking for. And laptop stickers, we're looking for audio and video correlating to this idea. And so once we have this question, we can do a lot of analysis on what we see. For example, we can look at connections with people through facial recognition. We can look at embeddings for semantic search, fragment relevancy for storage, locations in calendar to sync up with your daily life, and knowledge graphs and extended conversations to understand the intricacies of the things you experience on a daily basis. But this is just a lot of talking. Let's show you exactly how it works with a live demo. So this is Portal. These are videos that you've seen in first person based on a webcam on your head, and you can ask any single question. So for example, tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m., I have a physics quiz, and I've not studied for it at all. So let's study for it right now. Let's look up today's lecture on hinge forces. And you can just click search in a couple seconds. Here is our lecture from this morning on hinge forces with my wonderful professor, Matthew Robbins. Here's a summary of what's being said, and it's just entirely live. These are things that we've seen, and in a couple of seconds, you can analyze anything that you've processed. So this is a great example on how you can use audio, but we can go a little deeper.
Now, Rajan, I heard you were quite the musician. Now let's test something out and see how good you really are. Let's see moments when Rajan was playing the piano.
So no words are being said in this entire video. It's purely processing the fact that I'm playing the piano. It knows by context that this is me, and understands that this was actually at Hack the North, and it understands based on location in your calendar that this is what's happening. So you've seen now both video and audio, but what about location? What about people you've seen with facial recognition? So this next example kind of combines everything. So this is connected to my calendar, and I'm just gonna ask a simple question saying, what did I do this afternoon before symposium? And when you search this up, it should combine every single aspect of our processing. So right here, this is me playing ping pong. This is at St. Jerome's where I live. This is after my Math 115 lecture. I won that point, by the way, very well. And this is my friend Pearl. And so we're able to analyze all of these things at once. Yeah, I won this point for sure. But yeah, so we fundamentally believe that all information and people should be infinitely more connected. And we think that this video processing is the best way to approach it now. Yeah.
So yeah, we're here to make deja vu a thing of the past, and come join us at weareportal.co. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, we have Joy performing slam poetry. Let's give her a warm welcome.
When I was born deaf, they gave me a cyborg ear. Cyborg hearing is a wire coiled in my head. Its electricity slotted into 22 channels, so little bandwidth to capture the world. Cyborg hearing is 22 pixels of light against your infinite hues. I sit with you and your friends, a cyborg in hiding. The music is too loud and the chatter too fast, words ricochet like a hockey game from hell. You ask me something, and I smile and nod and pretend, but I'm just an imposter, a foreigner, an electric sheep trying to fit into the herd. I wonder if androids dream of me. I ask the man at the ski lift to repeat himself. He rolls his eyes. Do you speak English? He asks. I failed his Turing test, and now I'm just a quiet Chinese girl, a foreigner in more ways than one. My classmates once laughed at me for saying thermometer instead of thermometer, but it was the way my parents used to say it. And anyway, I learned how to talk by reading. Silent words on paper and blurry closed captions on TV. English is 26 letters against Mandarin's infinite characters, and so I never learned how to speak Chinese, a foreigner in more ways than one. But when my family in China realized I was deaf, they told my parents to give me up. You only get one child, after all. 20 years later, a worried young mother messages me. She just wants to know if her baby will recognize her voice. Will they fit in? And will they be okay? She asks. And I tell her, your child will be a child. She'll eavesdrop on teachers to forget to turn off their FM. She'll sneak up behind her friends and blast her trumpet at them. She'll make her class turn on movies for WALL-E, a movie about robots that clank and beep but don't actually speak. Your child will be a child, and she'll be a cyborg, and she'll be, above all else, human. I just wanted to talk quickly a little bit about, yes, you can read it here. So I guess first of all, this is my quest to be like, please closed caption anything that you put out. It really helps me because I don't hear particularly well. And so I wanted to show that closed captioning and design for accessibility can be fun, and it can be engaging, and it can be creative. Second of all, yes, this poem is very much about my deafness and my Chinese immigrant identity and how they're intertwined. And the main thing that I want you all to remember is that no technology you create will ever be perfect, no matter how beneficial it is. And your work will interact with the world in unexpected ways. And I also want you all to remember that good art, whatever that means, often comes from making those unexpected connections that no one else would make. And good art often comes from helping people internalize and humanize experiences that are often alien or foreign to their own. All right, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank Thank you so much for those beautiful words. Next up, we have Jennifer sharing with us about biotech. Let's give her a very warm welcome.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jen, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience in science and biotech, kind of the challenges that I've experienced in the field, and what I'm doing to make it a better place. So this is what I thought science was when I was a kid. Science to me meant kind of going to the library every weekend with my parents, just like sitting there for hours flipping through these magazines. I thought science was asking big questions. It was just learning about the world and how it works. And I think we can kind of all relate to this in some way. As a kid or as just curious people, we ask really big questions like, why is the sky blue? Or why do we have memories? Why do we need to sleep? And for me, a lot of these questions stem from a lot of personal experiences that I've interacted with in my life. So on the very far left is a picture of me and my dad, who has contracted polio when he was really young, and as a result, as he was growing up, experienced like a partially paralyzed leg, so he's not able to walk and participate in daily activities as a regular person. Also in the middle slide, in high school, I met an incredible person, Trevor, who is a war veteran who fought in the Afghanistan war, and as a result of one of his really severe injuries, he's not able to walk anymore and has been rehabilitating to learn how to walk again. And then with this slide, with this picture here is my grandpa, who unfortunately passed away this past summer due to end-stage Parkinson's. And all of these experiences in my life have kind of grounded me really in all the questions that I wonder on a day-to-day basis. And so throughout high school, throughout university, I've began exploring these questions in an actual research environment, kind of asking questions in the intersection of neuroscience, in regenerative medicine, and computational biology. And as you can see here, a lot of these photos are pretty different to what I showed you on the first slide. Really densely packed research papers that I could barely understand at first, to just like really complicated code that was honestly really poorly documented and organized, because in academia, not a lot of people care about that. And so even kind of experiencing the science that I was doing and kind of working towards these questions that I was learning about, I experienced a lot of barriers. So even just like getting a lab position to begin with is pretty challenging. A lot of academic labs expect you to have your own funding. Undergrads are pretty poorly compensated, and doing the work itself is pretty intense sometimes. You just be in the lab doing a bunch of experiments for the whole day just to know that they all failed. This was me kind of one weekend dealing with a really scrappy and poor data set that I got from a paper where the scientists just like completely used 2 different brain slices to model the results, which I had to deal with my code. So, through all these experiences, I've kind of came to some disappointment. I realized science is actually really slow and inaccessible sometimes. It's often really poorly funded, often a rat race for competing for publications, for grants, to even begin doing your research. It's often really incremental, so we don't often have the freedom to think about and answer all these big questions, and instead work on things that kind of move the needle only a little bit. It's also really exclusive and lonely sometimes. So this is just another example of some publications I've been showing science kind of slowing down and losing the destructiveness of what it was like in the past. And so we kind of began to ask questions like, what happened with this gap? And is there anything we can do to allow ourselves to dream bigger again and work on these hard problems? And so in the past 2 years, I've been building an organization, a community called Nuclei Dojo. We are a organization that aims to serve as the training ground for future biotech leaders, especially focusing on the undergraduates. So first, when we're building a community and an organization, we first ask, like, what do people actually need? The first thing that a lot of people have sentiments towards is they think biotech discovery is super cool, they think research is super cool, but they just don't know how to start. A second thing we've been seeing a lot is like individuals not be able to find a role model, and especially those who come from more underrepresented backgrounds, not be just to feel like they can succeed in the field. Funding is another issue, so a lot of people who have passion for research aren't able to do so because of competing commitments. And lastly, just like the accessibility of like research equipment and the lab space. So this girl who is from Puerto Rico we interviewed, she's unable to do her research because she doesn't have the necessary materials to, and she has to kind of build her own equipment to even begin kind of working on the questions she wants to. And so we kind of came to the conclusion that, you know, it's kind of frustrating to have all these barriers in these institutions and really have them dictate what you can or cannot work on. So no matter how much passion you have, how much drive and curiosity you have for a question or a field, there are kind of infrastructural, institutional barriers, and we wanted to make it easier for people. So at Dojo, we do this with a three-prong approach, so with education, capital, and community. So I'm going to be going through just like 3 of our core programs we're running right now. Very excited because they're all kind of newly launched. First one is Dojo Grants. It's actually something I've personally been working on in the past 2 years and launched this September. So it's kind of a year-long scholarship program for individuals, undergrads, to pursue life science research projects, and we support particularly topics and problems that are less overlooked or like less supported in the general academia space. So as an example, we have a scholar right now who's working on studying endometriosis and its effect on women, and this is typically a topic that is not very well funded. Secondly, we have a 6-week in-person biotech course that is being launched now on campuses. We have it launched right now at Harvard, and it's just to teach undergraduates about the space, like the biotech space, as well as the early stage venture process. And last but not least, we have a biotech hacker house, which is super fun. We essentially invite 8 to 10 students in the summer to Boston and just have them go through really cool like biotech and entrepreneurship programming. And our leadership right now spans a lot of different cities around the world, so we're global now, super cool. And we learned that we can actually do a lot to change science and biotech. And it all starts from community and just kind of bring people together with such like minds and who have the curiosity and the passion to work on hard problems. And these are just some pictures of us kind of doing cool stuff, having fun. And yeah, our alumni have gone on to do pretty incredible stuff. People who've just won really prestigious awards, to launching startups, to VCs, and even like just in general being trailblazers of their respective fields. And so we've just gotten started. And so where are we going next, and where are we headed in the next year or two? The first thing would be probably expansion. So we have really solid programs in one location. We want to bring it to more parts of the world. We want to create more open access to people from different backgrounds and different interest levels. We want to invest in students who have the potential to do really cool stuff but don't have that support. And lastly, emerge as the prominent thought leader in biotech for undergraduates. And so yeah, that is pretty much it. If you guys are interested, feel free to check us out. I'm also going to be at a booth, so feel free to come talk to me. And yeah, thank you so much for your attention. And yeah.
Next up, we have Logan, who's going to show off her dance startup. So if we can invite Logan on stage.
Thank you. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Logan, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Rex, which is my dance startup. So what I wanna do is actually tell you a story about how I got started, where I'm at now, and what I'm hoping to do with Rex next. All right, the starting point. So this whole journey started basically in the summer when I was doing the Next 36 program. Basically, it's an accelerator where people come together and work on startup ideas. And so I found a few people who wanted to build something together, and we all dove down and started brainstorming. We came up with so many different ideas that we wanted to explore. We talked to people about healthcare, about nutrition. We talked to them about, how does a hospital run? What do the workflows look like there? About traveling. We talked to people who, love to explore, love to host events. But nothing was really feeling right. We weren't sure what problem we actually wanted to solve until we started talking about dance. So one of my teammates was telling me that he's been a dancer for over 6 years. And I found that to be incredible because every time I try to dance, it always fails miserably. I told him that whenever I would try to go to classes, I felt super shy and nervous, and I would kind of just stay in the background. And it's so intimidating to dance in front of so many people if you're just starting out. And he told me that this is not an uncommon sentiment. A lot of people actually feel the same way. And that basically sparked an idea, and we realized that we finally found the problem that we wanted to solve. So we decided that we wanted to help beginners feel more confident and actually break out of their shell to help them learn to dance better. So we decided to build an AI dance platform where people could basically improve their dance moves by getting personalized feedback. Now, this brings me to stage 2, the emotional roller coaster. I think startups are amazing, but there's always highs and lows. And so when we first started out, we went through this rabbit hole of discovery. We talked to every single person we knew who was interested or wanted to dance. We went to dance studios and bugged people there. And we discovered that there actually is a huge scope for this problem. Beginners do, in fact, feel intimidated, but want a better way to learn. So next, we basically booked out a studio and actually tried to come up with a mini pilot. So we recorded my teammate doing different dance lessons, teaching beginners some foundational moves and some choreographies, and we sent it to our friends to see what they think. A lot of people actually took videos of themselves and sent it back to us, and it was a lot of fun. We also spent so many time taking pictures of my teammate, trying to understand how we could actually deliver this personalized feedback. But as it happens, after a point, our motivation plummeted. I think everyone thinks startups always tend to be this incredible journey of just happiness, but that's not at all the case. A lot of the times, it can be really hard to push yourself and keep going. And so that brings me to stage 3, the existential crisis. Basically, after the summer was wrapping up at Next 36, we were trying to figure out whether we actually wanted to continue with this idea because some of the teammates had to move to a different city or they wanted to work on a full-time job. And so everyone's priorities shifted, and unfortunately, we decided that we didn't want to continue as a team. I felt very sad, and it felt like everything was pointless. I thought about continuing the idea myself, but I kept feeling like an imposter because, well, I actually never knew how to dance, and so it didn't feel right as someone who's a beginner or just starting out to actually build a dance startup themselves. But then I found these incredible people at Waterloo and Socratica who told me that I have to keep going. And this brings me to stage 4, the comeback. So, now I want to share with you a little bit about what I've been up to. So first off is some designs for the website. I love colors, I love brightness, and I wanted to sort of exude this energy into the design for the website. And here you can see some screenshots. I also tried to put myself out there and set myself a challenge of trying to dance for 30 days straight. So here's a video on the left of me going to like a UW hip hop dance class, recording it and actually posting it on social media. This was very intimidating for me to do because I had never done something like this, but it turns out it was a lot of fun, and I got to learn so many different dance styles along the way, like Bhangra, like hip hop, like K-pop, and it was such a vibe. I also worked with a few friends. So this is Ashley, and for the last couple of weeks, she's been helping me record some foundational beginner moves that I want to put into the dance platform. The focus of RAX is really to help beginners, feel comfortable. And a lot of the times when you go to a studio, dance classes can be really intense. So with her, we film things like stretches, really basic dance moves that just help you break out of your shell. And this brings me to the last step, the next stage. So currently, I'm in the process of taking these videos that I recorded with some of my dance friends and putting them into the platform so that I can present 10 foundational moves with AI feedback. And this is what it's going to look like. There's going to be like an instructor, and you can dance along with them, and hopefully get some encouraging words of feedback and some fun emojis to give you positive reinforcement along the way. So that's been my journey with RAX so far. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Next up, we have Isha sharing with us her YouTube channel. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Hi guys, my name is Isha, and I happen to be a very responsible adult. I don't know how that got up there. Anyways, as part of being an adult, here are some of the things I've experienced, plus some things I've yet to experience. Adulting is hard, it's beautiful, it's mundane, it's all the adjectives, but I think we can really categorize adulting into these 3 buckets. The first one being things that matter, things that build character. These are the things that we wish school would teach us, but deep down we know school can't. It's the things that we read books about, watch movies about, go onto online internet forums and talk to strangers about. But ultimately, we just have to F around and figure these things out ourselves. The next category is basically just mundane chores, and if you don't figure this out within a week, you're pretty much screwed. These things are 3-minute YouTube video away, not much to it. This last category is what I want to call institutional or like third-party tasks. And these are the tasks that give a lot of young people anxiety, largely because they don't know any of the systems surrounding these tasks or the right terminology. Most young people don't think about how to do their taxes until they have to, how to rent a home until they have to, how to get a passport or apply for insurance until they have to. These third-party institutional tasks are a mystery for most young adults. And yes, this information is a Google search away, but young people don't have the context or know like the specific terminology to even know what to Google search. And I think all I needed learning these tasks is a base level of context. Knowing the terminology, knowing how to find out information specifically for Canada and my region. So as I'm figuring out how to be an adult, I'm packaging up everything I learn into a crash course, into information that I wish younger me had or my immigrant parents when they came to Canada. So it's a YouTube channel teaching young and new Canadians how to adult, specifically those third-party and institutional tasks that I mentioned. But wait, am I qualified to teach others how to adult? Am I even qualified to make a YouTube video? I've never made online content of that nature. I am not a realtor, I'm not an accountant, I am not a lawyer, nor am I a federal agent just yet. I am a layman with agency and the internet, and it's my first time learning most of this stuff, and I don't know all the terms. And I think that's my superpower in terms of packaging it up for people who are watching this content for the first time. Really, I'm making a YouTube channel for me. And in this YouTube channel, I'd want the YouTube channel to go over everything that exists, and everything I need to know as a part of being an adult in terms of what's out there. I want to know high level how it works, and I want to know actionably what steps do I need to take for my region. So what does a good YouTube channel look like? These are some that I look up to. This first one's called How to Adult. It's very comprehensive, goes over everyday chores, more emotional tasks, and even these third-party institutional tasks, but it can't go into a lot of depth because people lose interest and whatnot. There's another channel that you might recognize. It's called Dad, How Do I? It's basically a dad who grew up without a dad teaching other young people the things he wishes his dad would have taught him. It's illustrative, it's in layman terms, it's great. And then Vox, everyone knows Vox. Really good illustrations, really good layman's terms. But now, when you think about the first thing that you search up, when you search up how to do Canadian taxes or any third-party institutional task that's region-specific, you'll get some guy just staring back at a camera who looks like he's committing fraud or telling you to do tax evasion. But anyways, I want to bring the same comprehensiveness, illustrativeness, and layman language that I love from these other channels to my YouTube channel, starting with my first video on how to file your taxes. So the first thing I did was go back to the fraudulent fraudsters, and I watched probably over 20 hours of content on how to do your taxes, not because it's particularly interesting, but largely because I was afraid that I'd say something wrong, because I don't know the terms and because I'm a layman. So what I do is I'd basically paraphrase my understanding and repeat it back to my boyfriend to make sure I got it right. My boyfriend being ChatGPT. Anyways, after I consumed all this information, it came to the hard part, which was really condensing the information back to my people, back to what I actually came here to do. So what you see is a stupidly simple storyboard, but this arguably took a lot of time to figure out. And I took this storyboard and made a little toy, I guess, version of it. I took 30 pages of notes on taxes and created a little TikTok. And I did a little scary thing, which is push it out to my friends and family and everyone I know and everyone that knows me. And the response was overwhelmingly positive. There were some things to iron out, like really poor audio and poor graphics, but just by putting it out there, I had a ton of people reach out to me. So one of my friends gave me Canva Premium, which is surprisingly good for editing video. Another showed me this whole podcast room in the university, and I found out that no single other student has ever used this podcasting room before. I found out that there's free cameras available to us through the university. So there's all these resources, and I really just had to ask for them. So, with all the resources in the world available to me, all the content online, and my boyfriend ChatGPT, I set out to make my first YouTube video. And over time, every time I opened up my laptop and looked at Canva, I grew more and more distasteful, and I realized that there was a gap between the work that I'm doing and the work I look up to. And I realized that the only way to close that gap is to push out information out there, just like I did with my first TikTok. So with that, you can find my first YouTube video about taxes at Adulting Explained on YouTube this week. And yes, I did file my taxes. Thank you.
Well, that really resonated with me, considering I have not filed my taxes. So I will be definitely using that video. We will now be having an intermission. So yeah, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Woo! Welcome back after the intermission. We are going to be having a second round of demos, but before we get started, I just have something I want to do for 30 seconds. I want to take Waterloo's coolest to Be Real. So I'm gonna take my Be Real right now. So if everybody can smile when I. Do you want to get in the back? Sure, yeah. All right, guys, smile in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much. We will now be having Chris, who will be showcasing his neural interface to us. So let's give him a big round of applause.
No pressure. How's it going, guys? My name's Chris. So Avery couldn't make it tonight. He was going to present with me, but he has a concert. He's part of a jazz band. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about my story. So I'm a fourth-year mechatronics engineering student. I'm currently building new ways to interact with technology using machine learning and wearable neural interfaces. You guys probably have a couple questions. First of all, what is all this crap on my face? And the second question is probably like, why am I still playing Fortnite at 22 years old? I'm only going to answer one of those questions. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a bit of a life story. So growing up, I was a huge consumer technology enthusiast. I loved every new gadget and gizmo that came out. AR, VR, robotics, new apps, new wearable devices, you name it. I was super pumped about it. And you know, when I was in high school and I was thinking about where I wanted to go for university, Waterloo really stood out. I mean, this was really the only place where you had people actually building in the space of consumer technology. So for me, coming to Waterloo was a bit of a no-brainer. So off I went to study mechatronics engineering. For those of you who don't know, mechatronics is a bit of a multidisciplinary degree that combines a lot of concepts from hardware engineering and software engineering. Going into it, things were a little bit different than I expected. A lot of students in my program, and if you're in Tron, you know this very well, ignore a lot of the course content and just grind for software jobs because they pay more. I know this because I used to do this. Additionally, you know, with COVID, that exaggerated that even further. On top of that, a lot of these companies here in Waterloo that I looked up to were either selling their IP or selling themselves to larger companies in the States. And so a lot of the reasons why I wanted to come here, at least for me, started to feel like they were fading away, which obviously isn't the case, but at the time it felt like that. I guess where things really started to change was when I met Avery. So Avery and I were doing a little bit of volunteer work at Wautonomous, which is the autonomous car student design team at Waterloo, and we were both kind of sick of the fact that every single student design team was either car or robotics related, and we wanted to change that. So we ended up making a neural interface design team without knowing anything about neural interfaces. With that in mind, though, after about a year and a half, we went from knowing almost nothing about the space to building a working BCI that lets somebody type out messages just by looking at visual patterns. So for somebody with late-stage ALS who can't move any part of their body, even their eyes, something like this could let them communicate at around 20 words a minute. Why am I telling you all of this? Like I mentioned before, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to build new ways to interact with technology. But after doing the WaterLink project, I realized that, you know, building a new interface for the sake of building a new interface was not the right way to go about things. There had to be some kind of value add. A new form factor isn't necessarily that. It has to save some time. It has to improve somebody's quality of life. And in the case of most leaps in consumer technology, it's improved the way we've been able to communicate and express ourselves. So with everything that we have now, I started to think about, okay, what are ways we can improve our ability to communicate in situations that are maybe a bit trickier than usual, right? Like, what if I'm in public and I want to have a conversation with somebody at the rate of speaking, but I don't want to text and vocalizing is inconvenience? Or what if, you know, I'm paralyzed and I have lost my ability to vocalize? How can we make communication more accessible and put that into a form factor that anybody can use? So with that in mind, we'll get to the demo. It's a little bit shaky, so I'm going to turn on this device here. This is Symphonic. It's a wearable silent communicator. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait for this to turn on, and I'm going to run my little program here. Okay, cool. Are we connected? Awesome, we're connected. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make a phone call.
Hey, Chris, what's up?
Oh, okay, I think, hold on, let me restart that. Apologies, guys. It's a little bit buggy, but.
Not much. I'm at Symposium right now. Did you get the blue cheese for tomorrow?
Yeah, I did. I also got the brief. I'll let you get back to your presentation, though. Good luck.
Okay, sick, thanks.
Awesome. All right, so where are we at right now? Avery and I are working our asses off trying to build this out while handling a full course load. We've gotten some funding. We've been making our own custom hardware. Most notably, I think right now we have probably the largest supervised data set for this paradigm of its kind compared to anything that we've been able to find publicly. So that's pretty cool. And we're currently working on models that will allow you to speak with basically an infinite vocabulary using this. And so that's the path forward for us to really be able to scale this and get this into the hands of people who need it the most. So if any of you guys are interested in learning more about this, maybe you want to hop on the wait list, maybe you want to try this out, maybe you want to be our first 10 users, please scan this QR code and fill out the form. It's my fervent belief that the future of consumer technology will be built right here in Waterloo, Ontario. Thank you very much.
All right, next up we have Shahan doing Nerf and Gaussian splatting. So let's give him the biggest round of applause.
Hello, can you hear me? Wave if you, okay. Hi everyone, I'm Shahan. And I promise by the end of this presentation, you'll understand what the title means. So ever since I was young, I loved software that you can see. So this is stuff like Minecraft. And I even made my own version of Minecraft growing up. But more than that, I was really interested in making more realistic graphics in the computer. So let me tell you a story. Like, you know, to make a 3D model like this, a person has to go to, spend many years training how to be a 3D artist, and it takes a lot of effort to make 3D models. So I always thought, wouldn't it be cool if we can do this automatically? If we could just take some photos of an object or take some photos of the world around us and turn it into a 3D model completely automatically. And it's really cool that for the first time in history, this is actually possible. This is through a technology called NERF. So I'm sure everyone here has heard of NERF. But this is actually not what I'm talking about. My thing has nothing to do with this. Instead, it's something called neural radiance fields. At a really high level, how it kind of works is this. You can take some photos of a scene, so for example, in front of E7, and then you can do a whole lot of computation. I'm using a lot of graphics cards. And then you have a 3D model in the computer. And using this 3D model, you can move around in it, you can record another video, stuff like this. So I'll show you a NERF that I made. Okay, so this is a Nerf that I made. This is not a real video. This is a completely computer-generated video. And you can see it's insanely good. Like, it got the background, it got the E7, it got me, the bicycles. How it works is I stood there, and then my friend took a bunch of photos of me, and then I used the Nerf technique to turn that into a Nerf. And then once you have it in the computer, you can do whatever you want with it. So for example, you can move around in it and record a video. And this is what this video is. It's me moving around in the computer, and then like screen recording that and sharing it with you guys. So this is not a real video. It's insane. But, you know, let me tell you quickly at a very high level how Nerf works. We don't really have much time, but it's something like this. Let's say we want to represent this fudge. What we do is we train a neural network that we can ask it at any point on the fudge what the color is. So for example, we can ask it, okay, at the point 0, 1, 1, what's the color? And it tells us that it's brown. Or at another point, what's the color? And it tells us it's orange. Or I could point at another part and say it's white. And basically, by having a neural network do this, we can encode our scene inside of the neural network. So this is kind of what the neural network looks like. You give it an XYZ coordinate of like a position, and then it gives you a color as an output. And then once we have this neural network, which we train using all our training images, then we can make like new images from any angle that we want, even if we've never seen from that angle. But the key takeaway from this is Nerfs are not like usual 3D models. Instead, when we make Nerfs, we actually store the scene, like me standing there, inside of the weights of this neural network. But they have some limitations. One of them is they're really slow, and the other thing is you can't really edit them. That's why I'm really excited to announce, I'm not Steve Jobs, but I'm really excited to announce there's a whole bunch of new methods coming out. For example, one of these is called Gaussian splatting. And by new, I mean like last month new. This is like really state-of-the-art stuff. So this is also not a photo. This is a Gaussian splat. I know, it looks really good. But yeah, especially that guy. Yeah, but so this is not a photo. It's in fact a bunch of tiny little balls. We put them in just the right place so it looks like it's actually me standing in front of E7. So I'll prove it to you. If I make the balls really small, you can see that the world is represented by a bunch of tiny balls. But then when we make them big size again, the full size, it looks like a really good photo. And in the other scene, if I made a Gaussian splat, this is kind of what all the little balls would look like. So the cool thing about Gaussian splats is they're a lot faster to train and use, but also you can edit them. And this is my main area of research. I've been working on creating an editor for Gaussian splatting. So let me show you a Gaussian splat that I made of myself. And then this is in my editor. You can go in and just remove my head, just like that, right? So this is currently one of my top hobbies. Every day I wake up and I remove my head. So not only you can remove my head, you can also move my head up. You can move that. You can just move my face up if that's your thing. You can remove it totally. You can also throw paintballs at me. So if I don't really like getting wet in real life, so we can do this. And yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different coloring you can do. Yeah, and it's not just me. Like the entire scene is editable. So for example, those couches there, we could throw the paint on the couches too. And in this other scene, the one in front of E7, I can just move myself into the ground and make a giant crater. We can also do this. To be honest, I don't even know what this is. Don't ask me what this is, but we can do it. Also, we took a bunch of photos of E7. So my friend, we had a really long ladder, so we put the ladder in a lot of different places and took photos of E7. No, I'm joking. We just used a drone. But then we took a bunch of photos of E7 and then turned it into Gaussian splat. This is not a real photo. This is a Gaussian splat, and I'll prove it to you. You know this building? I never really liked it, so we can just get rid of it. You know? And like in this other building, also not a fan. I'm a math student, not an engineer. You know, like let's get rid of that, right? Yeah. Yeah. And then we can also throw colors on the building. So you can just throw the colors, or really you can do whatever you really want. And yeah, so this is not something that takes a long time. You can, in fact, go in a browser yourself, only on a desktop computer, no mobile support. You can go shahan.ca/nerf, and you can actually open it on your computer and play around with it if you want. And also, you should follow me on Twitter. I post about like this stuff on there. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, go ahead and behead me, please. Yeah.
Well, Well, you know what? As a math student, I really vibe with the let's destroy E7 mindset. All right, next up, we have Eileen and Braden showcasing some beautiful branding and designs.
Hi everyone, I'm Aileen, and this is my bear, Braden. Just kidding, his name is Assad. Braden was he was attacked, mauled by a wild bear, so I'm gonna be presenting on my own. But yeah, today I'm gonna talk about branding. So, I've been working on Socratica branding for over the past year, so starting like fall 2022. This was me in first year, you know, like typical Waterloo 1A student. And when I arrived at Socratica, this is like what the landscape looked like. We were homeless. We were like living out of the UW Startups basement. We didn't have our own Instagram. Like we didn't even really have a website. Like we were just doing whatever. And you can tell by our design system, which was like non-existent. Like if you look here, we only had one shadow, and it was Braden's shadow. So now I was brought on to, you know, like create a system, give us an identity, and it's actually a really tough challenge to brand an organization. You're essentially putting like hundreds, thousands of people into like a selection of fonts and colors. Like it's really, really hard to do, and you can tell that my process was by no means very linear, like tons and tons of iterations. And so this was our old fall 2022 Luma, and this is what it looks like if you go to a Socratica session, say like this Sunday. So like a really, really big jump from point A to point B. One thing I highlight in having good branding is to have really good foundations. Like this might look like a very simple set of colors, but it's really not. Like we've mathematically mapped like our hue, saturation, lightness to be just that perfect amount, and then we sprinkle these elements throughout our branding. So let's talk fonts. This is EV Garamond. It's a Google font. It's free for use if anyone's interested. And I asked my roommates like what they thought about this, and they told me it gave like Greek life. It gave frat vibes. So what we use now is Tiempo's headline, gorgeous modern font from Klim Type Foundry. This one isn't free, but she's really pretty. So, and like I'm a big font nerd. I won't go into it, but you can see here there are like a few terms. It's a really good font because of how tall its lowercase is, how low its descender is, and look at its little tittle. That's not a sex joke, by the way. That's the little dot on top of the I. So gorgeous font, cannot stress this enough. So we don't use it out of the box because we're super extra. We use like the 400 weight instead of the 500 one. And then we even italicize some of the words for that extra bit of oomph. Then we track it inwards, you know, -3% letter spacing. And I won't even get into Latin, but like we do a lot at Socratica. And, you know, do you guys hear something? Like over there? That's the sound of Braden Peterson, and now he's gonna talk about our website.
Okay, awesome. Are we on? Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about this mascot. I'm really into them. I like little guys, they're cool. Okay, so when we were exploring what that's gonna look like, you know, we thought about just having like one mascot and trying to get like one thing to describe what Socratica is, but during our exploration, we kind of just ran into these things. Don't really know where they came from, but we kind of fell in love with them just because they're really cute and they're easy to draw. We kept iterating them a little bit, and we got to this guy, coming back into the idea of having one. He's kind of shaped like an S. He's got a cool little smile. He's a guy. That's a guy right there. But then we also made another guy. And then we made 3, and then we made 10. So we kind of have this whole cast of wacky, zany characters now, and we're gonna keep making them because I think having a crowd of mascots that are super easy to draw, that are colorful, they really bring life to the brand using the colors that we've made and the font system, so it really does help piece things together. As far as brand applications go, the first time we really applied the new brand that Aileen created was at last symposium in Communitech, so spring 2023 symposium, that's me up there. Some of the applications that we did, we've got the stickers for the first time, we've got signs using the big, big buttons with the monofont inside of them, and really just keeping things consistent, using the color palette. It really came together for the first time and really showed us just how powerful a brand system like this can be for something as cool as Socratica. So this website, yeah, we have one. That's pretty cool. But in the state that it was before, it was just a landing page created by the lovely Anson Yu, which really helped us field in people that wanted to find what Socratica was. But we didn't have, I mean, to be fair, we were at a very early stage in the organization as a whole too, so we didn't really have too much to put, but we've grown so much since then. So we needed a new website. And we started building one using the design system that we started creating. This is our 404 page, and we created this. So this is where we're at now with Socratica.info. Really cool. Yeah, sure, round of applause. I'll talk briefly about some of the things here. This right here will kind of be like a Google Doodle. Every time you refresh the page, you will get a different artwork version of the word Socratica. So we are accepting submissions if anyone wants to submit them. You could be up here, who knows? Pretty cool. Up here, map. Why do we have a map? Because we've kind of been exporting this system, or not system, I would say like methodology that we've kind of discovered here at Waterloo. We've got people in the crowd today from all over the place that have started their own Socratica initiatives. See back there, we've got Vancouver, Ottawa, who else do I see? Bunch of people. Thank you for coming out. But really, the general vibe here is to tell people what Socratica is in one place. You know, social media can only last so long, but having your own website is really like your own corner of the internet. So having that and allowing us to grow both within Waterloo, but also exporting what we know to other places, this has been super helpful in that. And yeah, we launched this today, so that's pretty cool.
So branding is hard. If you don't want to look like this in your branding, Braden and I have highlighted like 3 principles that you can use to make your branding really, really good. So 1, be exploratory, 2, be recognizable, and 3, be really authentic to your organization, whether you're like fun, silly, playful, ambitious, or all the above. Here's an example of what is not Socratica branding. So I've seen a lot of work like this around Waterloo. Like, it doesn't say much about your organization. It's not that fun. And I don't think it's that true to who you guys are either. If you take that same copy and then put it in like a different format, you'll see what we've been doing for our Socratica stories this semester. So like a ton of variety, but it does share that like common visual thread that lets you know that it is Socratica. Here's another example of Socratica branding, like organized. It's very recognizable. Yeah, I'll let this one sink in. Very good. Top 10 designers. Paul Wren was too scared to face. This is over there. Shout to Hutsa. Yeah. And then here's another example of Socratica branding applications. So if we leave you with anything, I hope it's that your branding doesn't have to be perfect or beautiful for you to post it.
Yeah, your brand is more than just your fonts and the colors that you pick. It's the way you present yourself as an organization. It's the funny mascots that you use, the obscene usage of emojis in your Instagram stories, curating events like these. So yeah, it touches so many different things.
Yeah, never forget to put your fun and your welcoming first. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we're gonna have Chantel wow us with some singing. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Okay. Cool, thank you. This is really like clanking against me. Anyway. Hi everyone, my name is Chantel, and I wrote a song about math being my dinosaur. You're like, what? What does that even mean? So actually, I've been really dealing with something in my personal life recently, to the point where it's like really been impeding on my life. I can't even get out of it. Maybe some of you have heard of it. Maybe some of you relate. It's called daydreaming. It usually affects me during math class. So I can go to the next slide. So my roommate Jen, actually, who presented her biotech presentation, was like, hey, Chantel, you should do this thing called Socratica. And we have a symposium where we do our personal projects. And I was like, what am I passionate about? And I realized it was music. Like, I've been passionate about music my whole life. Mostly like piano and classical music, opera actually, which is really interesting. But I missed the version of myself where I called myself an artist. I think I've been playing for so long, and I wanted to reconnect with that, so maybe like learning a new instrument. So I've also been effectively learning how to translate my thoughts into words, and I wanted to learn how to play a new instrument. So I've actually never played the guitar before, prior to 1 month ago when I decided to take this project on. So please be kind to me. I'm not Prince or anything. I'm also deathly afraid of math, mostly fluids at the moment, actually. But what better way to channel your negative thoughts in those darkest moments when you're like trying to solve your fluids problem set into something maybe perhaps a little bit joyful. And singing to large crowds is like eating a giant chocolate bar to me. I think maybe this is the element of the daydreams that I can give you a peek into. So basically, this song is about like delusion, and and it's really about those like moments in your day when you're relishing in your daydreams so much that it's like all-encompassing. Like you're standing there, but you're not fully there. I don't know if you saw on the first slide, but it was like a dinosaur doing math, but in reality, his head's like in the music. And actually, those notes were the song that I'm gonna play for you right now. So here we go. Oh, and thanks for being my first ever audience of more than 4 people. Last year I traveled back in time and befriended a large dinosaur. Last month I sat on a penguin's wings and he flew us to Japan. Last week I jumped so high my head hit the moon. But today when I walked on the sidewalks, I stepped on the cracks. And at breakfast I burnt my coffee. And when I woke up this morning I smiled, but my pillow was soaked in tears. So I asked myself, why are you crying? I answered her, it's because I'm so happy. I'm happy because I am grateful. But then why cry? All I want is to lay in my bed forever and ever. I don't want to get up to do math. Please sit and stare at the ceiling with me until the dinosaurs come back to life. I won't cry. Tomorrow I'll do the thing where I win by matching my socks. And I'll wake up 2 minutes late -2. And I'll get up and think about math. All right.
right, last but not least, I would like to introduce my co-host to conclude our last demo with a vertical farm.
All right, wait, can people hear me? Okay, cool. So first things first, I have not rehearsed my slides, so I'm gonna be winging this, so bear with me. But, wait, where's the, oh, clicker's here. My bad, sorry. So to give you some backstory, since I was like 15 in Sri Lanka, I've been growing greenhouses. I've been building greenhouses, growing a lot of plants hydroponically. And coming to Canada, there's no space to actually grow greenhouses. Like I can't just like take a piece of land and just plop a giant greenhouse. So Anson once approached me at Socratica and introduced me to Julia, who was building a like a vertical farm CAD model. So the next day, I put it on my sticky notes on my wall, which is how I get things done, to build a small vertical farm. So to get started, I started writing. I started writing exactly what I would need to do, what I would need to print, what I would need to automate to actually get this into reality. And I started printing, 3D printing for the first time in my life. I am not an engineer. I am actually in math, which is probably pretty depressing to Chantel. But I am in math. So I started printing for the first time on RPC, which have like free 3D printers and stuff, which I thought was pretty sick. I didn't actually understand how CAD worked, nor do I still understand it. But I managed to get stuff done. Eventually, I realized RPC isn't a great place in E7, as is E7. So I found a new place called Velocity Digital, and this had the best 3D printer I've ever seen. This is like such an expensive 3D printer, and I started printing these modules to actually make this 3D farm. And I eventually ended up building it. This was what the 3D printed farm looked like. I put a giant clickbait arrow so you actually see it. But how it works is the water, there's a pump at the bottom of the, wait, how do I do the, oh yeah, there's a pump at the bottom of this, which pumps water all the way to the top and then brings it down. So plants stay in here, and there's no soil in this. So the water actually just waters the roots of the plants, and they get all the nutrients and stuff they need because the nutrients are mixed in the water. And this was around the time where I started this program called BuildSpace. So BuildSpace is a program where you have 6 weeks to take your idea and make it into something reality. And I was, Farza, who's the guy who runs BuildSpace, put my farm in front of 900 people. So that was cool. Definitely not as intimidating as this, but yeah, so 900 people is a lot, and I ended up getting a lot of support. Like some would even call it, PMF. But it got a lot of support, and that was really cool. So I was like super excited to show it to everyone. And this is what my dad had to say. Okay, I guess everyone's done laughing, but it uses a lot less area. It's modular, so you can make it as tall as you want. And it can do 3 plants per section, which is the highest lead per square foot. My dad thinks it's cool. So I started printing more. I printed these Jiffy cups, which is where the plants go in, and the roots can go through here, and they actually grow. So this is the first plant I bought. I went to like some random farm in St. Jacobs and stole their parsley. And then I started getting more plants. There was a lot of plants on sale because it's the end of summer. So what I would do is I would take a plant and dip it in my sink and get rid of all the soil, because you can't have soil in this because it's completely soilless. I'd also buy this thing called rock wool, which is used in construction, but you can also, it like absorbs a lot of water. So this is how you start seeds. You put seeds inside these and keep it in like a locked humid area, and it grows into seedlings. So that was cool and all. And then I ended up getting more stuff for it, more grow blocks, a timer, very, very corrosive phosphoric acid, and a bunch of plants. You need this to reduce the pH of the water. To this day, I have not yet poured acid on myself, which is good, but I don't know how long it'll last. And then I eventually decided, okay, I want to take this further. So me and my best friend, Munir, from Sri Lanka, when we built our greenhouses there, I went to visit him in Miami. So there he showed me his entire hydroponic setup, his award-winning hydroponic setup that won like the University of Miami's like capstone thingy. And he gave me like a full tour of it, which was really cool. But it was also around this time when I got back from Miami, the BuildSpace competition was about to end. And I had officially made it to the top 32 of BuildSpace, which is like 0.0001% of all the people out of 17,000 people. And this is where I met Chris, the guy from before. Chris was also in this competition. But I lost to him. He actually, of the 32 people, he was the guy I faced against. What a small world. And he lost me at Socratica, actually, but we'll show you that. But before, I keep telling about this hydroponic farm, but I'm more of a show rather than tell person. So let's bring out the hydroponic farm now. It's like. You can drop it here. Yeah, it's kind of janky. Again, I'm not an engineer, so I probably should fix this. But my plants are currently dying because there's no water. So I need to rush this back home. It's like putting it in an ICU. And it was during during a Socratica session, the first session of the term, Chris won BuildSpace. He won $25,000. He was the top 4 out of 17,000 people, and this was at Socratica where they won. I was top 16. Okay, cool. Not as cool as this, but I still came pretty far. So the crazy thing I think about BuildSpace, the biggest takeaway was that 17,000 people participated from all over the world. 6 people made it to the Waterloo, from Waterloo made it to top 32. And 5 of those people are at the symposium, which is insane. The chance of that is so unlikely, and the crazy thing is almost all of those people are Socratica people. They're people who really just try random shit and see if it works. And that's the best part, I think. It's I think more people need to take a bet on Waterloo students. Screw Stanford, MIT, whatever. No offense, but I genuinely think we are actually better, and this number proves that. It's literally, I'm showing it right here in front of you. I don't see many Harvard people made top 30, but that's fine. So, where am I today? I decided to expand this grow tent, my plant factory, because it's becoming winter and there's barely any light, barely any sunlight. So I built an entire grow tent in my apartment by the stairs that has a ventilation system that has its own lighting, that has its own whatever, and I put this inside there. And if you ever want to check it out, you can come visit my place. It's literally just in my apartment. I hope my landlord does not find out. But until the day he does, I'm going to keep doing it. And this is how I usually do the nutrients. I put a bucket of water in my tub. I mix all these, magnesium sulfate, tomato formula, and calcium nitrate together inside my tub and make this chemical formula. I'm not doing it here today, unfortunately. And then this is what it looks like inside the grow tent. So to take this further, I ended up writing a bunch of stuff on how you can actually build your own farm. So this is actually super simple. It's not complicated. This is a proof of concept that I want to essentially replicate and kind of decentralize the way we grow food, because I think the current system does not work that well, even though technically economies of scale makes sense. But I wrote it on my website, hudson.com/farm. You can have a look. And if you want to build your own, it's all there. And you can just ask me questions. I also wrote more about vertical farming and why I think it's a huge tar pit, mainly because vertical farming at scale is usually a terrible idea. It's just extremely expensive. You're hiring engineers and scientists instead of a family in Missouri to grow your food. So I wrote more on that, but if you want to talk to me more about vertical farming, agriculture, whatever, please come talk to me. I'll be boothing outside, although we don't have a lot of time. And yeah, if you wanna know more and build your own farm, visit my website at hudson.com/farm. Oh, wait. You need that.
All right, that concludes our demos. I would now like to invite Anson to the stage to conclude the symposium.
Hello, party people. All right, before I start, I would like to call up Joss as well to join me up here, because... Okay, so one comment that I've been making is that, I knew y'all were smart. I didn't know y'all were funny, too. So good job on that. But yeah, I think it's crazy because Socratica started like a year and a half ago as just like a bunch of people hiding out in a classroom that they weren't allowed to be in on a Sunday morning. And then we passed it along to more people and to more people. And it just involved a bunch of people that, like, everything that is happening here right now, everybody in this room, talking, eating pizza outside, it didn't have to happen. It happened because there were groups and groups of people, months after months, that were willing to give their time, participation, and their energy to build something like this from scratch. And I'm so happy and proud of the team, and I want them to stand up and wave so that we can properly thank them and congratulate them for pulling this thing off. So can we get them to wave if you were a host for this term?
Something that's pretty special about this symposium for me is this was my independent term. I was moving to Montreal. I was like, time to get out of Waterloo. I'm Waterloo born and raised, and I decided to be a little bit bold and go a little bit far away. And then 200 people RSVP'd, and then 300 people RSVP'd, and then I heard that people were flying here to come to Symposium from Vancouver and from San Francisco and from, I don't know, Parth, where are you from again? Where? DC. From DC, in the United States of America. And he's here. He came on a plane. On Thanksgiving! And so I said, no more independent girl era. I have to come back to Waterloo. I think the ability to have started or grown something contributed with a bunch of really talented people that makes you stop having your independent girl era and come back to the town that you grew up in, that you're trying so hard to leave, but the magic keeps being here. That is so significant. And I just want to thank everybody for making Waterloo on a Thursday a destination. It's amazing, it's amazing. And the best part is that I think we're only getting started, and this is so much of what we do is focused on that sustainability piece. There's constant succession planning. Everybody's really distributing the load of the work that gets done. This is not something that's been built by one person. This is honestly probably in the hundreds at this point, especially across the numbers of campuses that have been starting up this term. So yeah, there's just so much magic when we all decide to come together and make it happen. It's pretty beautiful. That's it. That's my commentary. Well, somebody was chanting water, water, water. Would you like to lead that on stage with the audience? No, we're not.
That's for the...
Okay, and then we're gonna cut it off because we do have to do other things, but...
What are you doing? Get up here!
Really quick.
Just a quick one. Just a quick water, water.
Water, water, water!
So, to wrap us off, for those of you that are from here, please join us this Sunday or next Sunday or every other subsequent Sunday, because we will continue to run. Because we keep tapping first years on the shoulder before they even enter this university, and we put their names in a little group chat and we're like, we should look out for these people. And then we keep doing that. So this is gonna be around for a while. But if you're not from here and you wanna take a little piece of this magic back with you, we just finished writing a 32-page document of how to run something like this. So you can access that at toolbox.socratica.info. I don't know if the slide is gonna come up, but we'll send it to you guys afterwards. And from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of the hundreds of hearts that have poured their energy into this, thank you for coming and have a great night.